Okay, so now that you've achieved the outline for your character, you want to see what it looks like filled, but before you do that, you also need to add the last component, which is the hole to add the keychain or to hang it from the keychain. So you go over to the tool palette and you'll click on the ellipse tool over here. You may have the rectangle tool selected, so then you'll click on the arrow and it will show you the ellipse tool down here. So you'll select that. Now you don't have to click and drag if you know the measurements. You've already made sure that the preferences are set at millimeters instead of points or pixels. So you just click on the background and then it brings up a little box and it asks you what size or diameter you want your circle to be. So I'm going to type in 4 and then hit the tab key and type in 4 and click OK. So that brings that up for me. Now when I want to move anything around my page, I go and I select the selection tool, which is the outlined arrow in the tool palette up on the top left. So I'm going to click and I'm going to see I selected the center of the circle. I could also move it from the outside if I click on the outline. So I move it in here and put it into place. Now if I move that around, it should bring up a line to show me that it's centered there. So it's pretty good. It gives you some guides. See, there's a pink line that comes up and it tells me that it's centered. Okay, so now I have the circle there. I've got all the elements I need, except that I want to fill now the object so that I can see what it looks like when it's 3D printed, just from front on, obviously. So I'm going to change the color though. So to do that, if I've got a whole array of colors that I can use. So I double click on the color red outline and I can scroll up and down. I might go for, say, a lime green color, something bright. You could go for a hot pink. You could go for anything you like. And to do that, you just scroll up and down here. So you can scroll until you come close to a colour that you like and go, okay. So I want all of my colours to be that same colour. So it had a little box down here of the last selection that I had. So I selected everything and clicked on that. Okay, so now everything's green. So now what I'm going to do is I want to fill this background green. Okay, now I've lost my outlines because they've all been filled in green by the background. So what I'm going to do is then I want to separate the mouth and eye from the actual object. I want to, it will be cut out when it's 3D printed. So I'll go to Window and down to Pathfinder. As you can see, it's already selected on mine. So that will show up over here on the right hand side. So to select everything, just click and drag over everything. And then if I go to this on the Pathfinder, this excludes some of the shapes. So see what that does there? It cuts out the mouth and the eye. So I can see my sketch that I had behind there. So that's a really handy tool to use if you're wanting to separate objects and have images that are like a shape but it's see-through with cutouts. Okay, so now I will click and drag over everything to make sure everything's selected and then Control G or up here, Object and down to Group. Okay, so I've done that. I'm going to select it again and I'm going to do Control C to copy it. And then I will do Control N or File New and I'm going to start a new document. So as you know, according to the brief, our size could be no larger in any direction than 60 millimeters. So I'm going to create a board that is slightly bigger. So I'm going to make it 70 millimeters by 70 millimeters. So I'm going to click on Create. Okay, and now I've already copied my image, so I'll do Control V to paste it into here. Now if I want to resize anything, I'm going to go up to Transform, and so you can see here the width is 48 point whatever and the height is 49 point whatever. So on here, I want to make sure that if I type in the height that the width is going to change in scale and proportion. So to do that, I have to click on the lock to make sure that's locked.